students, in morphology of flowering plants, we have completed the morphology of the root, shoot and the leaf. In this lecture, let us move on to something called inflorescence. The inflorescence. Inflorescence simply means arrangement of flowers on stem axis. You know how flowers are formed. In the axil of the leaf, that is the axillary bud. The axillary bud can develop into a flower. Alternately, the apical bud at the tip of the shoot can also terminate into a flower. In these cases, the flower is said to be a single flower or a solitary flower, as you see in case of hibiscus. Now there is the second case as well, wherein the flowers are really small and having single flowers like that in places will not work in attracting the pollinators. So what does the plant do? It will create a cluster of flowers in that specific place. So a cluster of flowers will be very visually appealing to the pollinators and they will be attracted to it. So what the plant does is an entire stem branch, will be designated for formation of flowers only in very close succession. This arrangement of flowers onto the stem axis is known as an inflorescence, or in other words, it's like a cluster of flowers. This stem branch will be different from the other stem branches in that at every node there will be formation of flowers from the axillary buds of the leaves. The leaves may not be very large sized, the leaves may be reduced to very small sized bracts, and the flowers will be more conspicuous. The nodes will be formed at very close successions. This specialized stem axis is known as a floral axis, also called as a peduncle, a specialized axis on which the flowers are born in very close succession. This is the growing axis. These are going to be the leaves from whose exile these flowers have emerged. The leaves are at the nodes regions only, and the nodes are at very quick succession. This specialized stem axis is known as a floral axis, also known as peduncle. Important word. These are the stalks of the flowers and these are called as pedicels. Pedicel is the stalk of flower and these small ones will be the bracts. The bracts are the leaves from whose exile the flowers have emerged. Shoot apical meristem produces flowers at each node. There are two types of inflorescences. Look at these two diagrams and tell me your inferences. Look at the shoot apical meristem, which is mainly responsible for formation of these flowers in these two types of inflorescences. In the first case, this over here is the shoot apical meristem, and the shoot apical meristem in this case is progressively increasing in length while it keeps on forming nodes behind. And as it forms the nodes, the flowers will emerge from those places, but the shoot apical meristem will continue to grow. It will have an indeterminate growth, an unlimited growth. In this type of arrangement, you see that the older flowers will be at the base and the younger and the newer flowers will be formed on top. An acropetal order. You learned about acropetal order when you learned about leaves, isn't it? This is an acropetal arrangement of flowers. What about the second case? Where is the shoot apical meristem? What happened in this floral axis was that the shoot apical meristem, after a certain period of growth, terminated into this flower. This is the oldest flower here. It terminated. But the nodes that were left behind by that shoot apical meristem gave rise to two branches which were also led by shoot apical meristems, and those shoot apical meristems also ended into flowers. But before they ended into flowers, they formed nodes below them as well, from where two new branches have emerged from those nodes left behind by these flowers, and they also have led to the formation of shoot apical meristems which have also terminated into flowers. But these are the youngest flowers and this one is the oldest flower. The oldest flower is at the top and the newer flowers are below this older flower. A basipetal order opposite to the acropetal order. The shoot apical meristem in this case has a limited growth, unlike this one in which it had an unlimited or indeterminate growth. This is a determinate growth. So these are the two types of inflorescences. The first one is known as Racemose Inflorescence and the second one is known as a Cymose Inflorescence. Let's write. Shoot apical meristem has indeterminate growth. Indeterminate growth means it continues to grow. Flowers born in an acropetal order or acropetal succession we call it. Older flowers are at base and younger ones at the top. Cymose inflorescence. Shoot apical meristem has determinate growth, means finite growth. Flowers born in a basipetal order / succession. Older flowers on top, younger ones below. Racemose inflorescence is usually seen in case of mustard plants. Then in case of gulmohar, jasmine flowers show cymose inflorescence. The peduncle terminates in a flower. Example, gulmohar, mustard, radish. For cymose, let's take example of bougainvillea, jasmine, solanum. These are out of NCERT examples. Let's look at one more aspect of Racemose and Cymose. Now that is the shoot axis in the Racemose, isn't it? Older flowers are below and younger flowers are on top. Let's say this peduncle is greatly compressed, okay, into a flattened disc, as is seen in case of a sunflower. Did you know that one sunflower is actually an inflorescence? Did you know that? Yes, it's not a single flower, it's a cluster of flowers. Each petal is equal to one flower, okay, and each of that thing in that brown color portion is actually one flower. There are two different types of flowers there. Alright. So in this case, the peduncle is greatly condensed to form a flat structure, no longer called a peduncle, it's called a receptacle. In this case, the older flowers will be at the periphery and the newer flowers will continue to grow in the center. So the growth is going to be towards the center. What is the terminology for towards the center? When the growing forces are towards the center, that's called a centripetal succession, a centripetal growth. So for Racemose, you have to say that there is an acropetal succession / centripetal growth. Centripetal growth towards center. Consider cymose. So let's say this peduncle is also shrunk. The older flowers will be towards the center and the newer flowers in this case are going to be towards the periphery. The growth will be on the outside. When the growing forces are towards the outside, that kind of arrangement will be called as centrifugal arrangement. So cymose inflorescence has basipetal order succession or centrifugal growth. That is growth towards periphery. So these are the two different types of inflorescences. In the next class, we will look at the different types of Racemose inflorescences and the different types of Cymose inflorescences as well. In the name of Lord Mahadev, please subscribe